good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Wednesday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great, and I hope you're having a great week. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So what's up? How you guys doing? I know we've been chopping it up in the lives lately, but there's a lot of subscribers and people that watch the videos that don't get an opportunity to make the lives. And I hope each and every one of you guys are doing okay, and that one day you get an opportunity to come chop it up with me, man. That's what I look forward to. So today we're gonna do a video on the S.H.U, the Special Handling Unit, aka Sainte-anne-des-plaines in Quebec. Now, the S.H.U is the most maximum security penitentiary we have here in Canada. It is the number one. There is only one Supermax, and basically what that means is no other prison can handle you, right? No other prison wants you. You've either stabbed somebody up, you've smashed somebody really bad, you've attacked a bunch of COs, you've been in like a major riot in a max, and maybe they just feel like you're unmanageable. Those are the reasons typically that you would be sent to a S.H.U, where they feel like you're basically just unmanageable in any institution. It's pretty rare in Canada to get that, but it can happen. So Sainte-Anne-des-Plaines, Quebec, I really don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's in Quebec, and it's a 6-wing radial design penitentiary. The cells are 2 by 3 meters. That's a pretty small cell, right? What is that? Like 6 feet by 9 feet. So maybe not the smallest cell ever. Maybe not as small as like the old Kingston Penton cells, but still small enough, right? Keep you confined in a tightly enclosed area. Anytime you have movement in this prison, you are handcuffed if you are around officers. They carry 0 weapons on them except pepper spray to limit the opportunities for offenders to seize those weapons. Because keep in mind, these are the worst of the worst in terms of violence for criminals in the country, right? It really is. And there's only 90 of them. It's not like there's thousands of them. In Canada, there is literally 90 of these guys that are locked up. There's lots of guys on the street that are crazy savages and will lay you down real quick. But these are the guys that have happened to get caught for it and don't even care when they're in the system to slow down and stop doing what they're doing. So basically, once you get there, you have to complete a program system. Basically, they'll concoct a case management for you, and they'll create a level of work that you have to do to be able to scale down to get back to a maximum security penitentiary. And I think even just little freedoms you get there, you have to earn through programming. I think there's a review every 4 months. That does not mean you're going to be leaving there after 4 months. That's just paper trail stuff. It really means nothing. They can put whatever they want on that paperwork and keep you. That's a fact. So the criteria for going to the S.H.U: reasonable grounds to assault inmate, staff, or the society or public, right? So anybody who is crazy, out of their minds, and really has 0 respect for authority, or at least that's what they're saying, that's where you're going. Or any majorly radicalized offenders that they are scared could radicalize other inmates with their words, such as terrorists. And I think at one point there's been 5. I think right now there's 5 alleged terrorists. I don't know if they're alleged. They've been at least convicted of something to be there. But there's 5 there. And actually recently, one of those guys was attacked by another one of those guys, because they're on a separate wing, and dumped boiling, scalding water all over him and had burns to 70% of his body. No idea why that would have happened, but that happened. And it's really hard to find out information and violence and fights or riots or anything that have kicked off at the S.H.U. It is super, super, super shut down. So we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're just going to talk about the criteria. So assessment happens, and it begins at this sending institution. So basically, you're going to stab somebody really bad, pop, 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 right in his throat. He's going to bleed out. You're going to bang out a CO. You're just going to do something crazy that's going to get you sent to the S.H.U. Your assessment is going to begin at this joint that you're at, right? So basically, your PO, your managers, IPSO, the warden, and a bunch of people are going to come together, and they're going to review your case and see if you fit the criteria to go. And if they want you to go, they're going to make you fit that criteria, and you are going to go. But at the point, we're usually typically when somebody's at the point where they're at the S.H.U, they don't care about that. They don't care if they're in the S.H.U or if they're in Max. You know, what's really the difference, right? A lot of the time when you're in a war zone like situation, because maximum security pens can be like that, it can kind of take over. You can get caught up, you know. And it's really, it's sad, it's tragic almost, because a lot of the guys that end up being these guys are not, they didn't start out that way, right? Just being in the system and being traumatized over and over again, and just, you know, eventually your mind just becomes cold, right? And things become easy. Not everybody who's in the S.H.U is a killer, right? Like, there's guys that aren't, right? And that's a fact. And typically it would be killers, but not everybody is there as a killer, right? So basically, once they create your case management paperwork, they're going to send it off to some national review board, and that national review board is going to decide if it's a case that they're going to hear. And if it is a case that they're going to hear, they're going to give you an opportunity as an inmate. I think you get 5 or 7 days or something like that to file an appeal. And basically, like, you go through the process. You can probably hire like an inmate, or not an inmate, but like an institutional lawyer that comes in and deals with these kind of cases institutionally. And I'm sure that you can fight it and try to fight your way out of it, right? Because a lot of the time, if you're in a max and you're on your way to S.H.U, you know that, like, it's a good chance that you're going to be, right? Like, there's a good chance that you're going to have to do something to protect yourself, or you're going to be caught up in something, and it could just be this crazy over and over and over situation where it seems impossible to get out. Like, I've known lifer guys that are just in medium security penitentiaries, that small things like dirty urinalysis and stuff like that make it so they have zero opportunities at getting out. Like, seriously, I knew a guy, a lifer dude, his behavior was not bad. This guy was in for like 24, 25 years when his parole eligibility was at like 12 or 15 years, in that range somewhere. And because he'd get dirty urinalysis, because he has a problem and he's not being offered the necessary rehabilitation to change his life, because they don't offer that, right? They give you these basic cookie cutter programs that don't work for people. And basically you just scale that up to the S.H.U, right? I'm sure the programs that you do there are the same government concocted basic programs, and all they really expect is obedience and that you don't stab anybody, right? That's really all that they care about. After a certain amount of time, if you complete what they ask you to complete, then you're going to scale back down to a max, and so forth, right? I have seen guys that have gone from the S.H.U right down, right? It happens, especially when guys do long, extended sentences. If you're in the system 25 years, and when you come in, you're a young hothead, right? You're in for a body, right? So when you come in, you're not already turned life around, polished dude that wants to change, right? You're still that hothead that killed somebody. And when you come into the system, you're going to be angry because you got caught. and you put yourself in a situation where you have to be in prison. And that anger is going to fester inside you if you don't work on that. And then what's going to happen? You're going to take that anger out on somebody inside, especially when they put you in a maximum security prison for 2 years without any choice, and you have to kind of get through the maze without trying to get yourself caught up. The Special Handling Unit. I'm not sure it's a good idea, right? That much seg time. It's literally like 22 hours a day lockup, and you really have zero contact with anybody except for a handful of inmates. And that's only for like tiny little bit of time here and there, right? It can't be good for your mind and the mental health. And the guys that are there are already dealing with so much. That's why they're there. Nobody wants to live that life except for a very, very small percentage of people. And I know that is a very small percentage of people. It's only 90 in Canada. But I bet if you went back 20 years with a lot of those guys, 10 years with a lot of those guys, and you gave them different opportunities where they weren't put into these war zones, they probably wouldn't be there. I believe in second chances and even third chances. It's just the way my mind works. I believe human nature is just, it's inevitable for people to make mistakes, right? We're not meant to be perfect. The trials and tribulations of life take you on a crazy path. Like I've been at the total different ends of the spectrum, right? Like right now, literally, I don't do anything, right? I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep. I don't hang out with anybody that does anything bad. I just totally 100% stay away from that life. But at one point, I really didn't give a damn about anything at all, right? So I just believe that despite the fact that there's guys that are in the S.H.U, I believe some of those guys can turn it around. Now, there's been a lot of very notable inmates in the Special Handling Unit, like Clifford Olson, like the head of an infamous biker gang. I'm not going to mention his name. Like the Colonel, Russell Williams, like Luca Magnotta. These guys that got to be locked away secure so guys don't kill them. And the Toronto 18 terrorist dudes are all in the Special Handling Unit or have been there. And I think Alan Legier and some other dudes. Crazy place, right? Crazy place. And that specific biker leader, former biker leader, actually got charged in the S.H.U for stabbing somebody up a bunch of times. Whether he did it or not, I don't know, and I really, doesn't matter to me. It's just also to go and prove my point that it's not somewhere you want to be. And if you are there, you are this close to rock bottom and it being over for you if it isn't already. I think a lot of the time it's hard to be alone with your thoughts. And when you're in a prison like the Special Handling Unit, that's all you're doing. You're sitting with your thoughts. And if you're in the Special Handling Unit, there's been a crazy road to getting you there, and those thoughts are probably pretty dark. So my suggestion would be, before you ever come to that realization or to that point in your life, turn it around before that. If it's addiction and it's making you crazy, go to rehab, reach out for help. There is help out there. If you're breaking the law and you're just starting to, or it's just minor stuff and you're just starting to do little bits here and there, let me tell you, even if you're not a violent offender, it'll snowball and eventually you'll be doing big time. I never caught a violent offense in my life, but I was doing years. And institutional life is crazy. And whether you're like that or you're not, sometimes you may be put in a situation where you have no choice but to be like that if you want to survive. And those choices can land you in a place like the S.H.U, even if you don't want to be there or never plan to be there. So if you are going to prison, just think to yourself, like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to make sure I'm okay, but I'm not going to start any crap. I'm not going to run up a bunch of debt. I'm not going to have anybody want to run at me where I might have to run at somebody else and put myself in a place like that. It is not worth it. Now, the best situation, obviously, would to not be go to prison in the first place. But we all know in 2022, that's not a reality. It's getting hard out here, and it's only going to get harder. And sometimes people are going to have to do what they have to do to survive. And sometimes that can land you in prison. And sometimes when you are in prison, your back can be against the wall, and you might be forced to do something you don't want to do. Not everybody who stabbed somebody in prison wanted to do it. I tell you that right now. Sometimes it was a life or death. They knew if they didn't do it, somebody's coming for them. And then they end up throwing their life away. It's not likely for stabbing somebody. Even if they die, you're going to get life if you do it in prison, especially in self-defense. But it's just going to extend your sentence and extend the high-risk situations, right? Obviously, I share my stories with you guys so you guys don't have to go through these things yourselves. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So, it's not easy to get to the S.H.U. And most inmates never see it. Like I did years and years and years, didn't even touch a max. And I was fighting all the time and getting caught up in shit. Like, there was a point where I was a 25.5 score, which is a half a point under max. So I was close. But at the end of the day, I never got there. So there's a lot of guys that will never, ever see the S.H.U. or never even hope to see the S.H.U. And even if you had to do something bad to survive, or even if you just did something bad because at the time you were a different person, there's always room to change and maybe get that second shot, man. Third shot, whatever it is. Life is worth it, even if you're just getting the small things, man. Even if you're not a millionaire, even if you don't have the finest things in life, just breathe in the fresh air, being able to go outside, see nature, take a walk, whatever, have a smoke, sleep with your girl, whatever it is, it's just great. And we got to stop taking those things for granted. So that would be my advice. No special handling unit. Sainte-Anne-des-Plaines. Crazy place. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark.